Meeting to order at 7:03.
Mackey,
Present.
McGreen here. Baxter here. Harper here. Bassett here. Thank you.
We'll move on to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Let's have it. We'll move on to public comments. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to say something?
That would be you, Hoss. You're up. You can come a little closer so we can hear you. Well, how about this? Come up here, come up, you're all right. We all know how to read. Give us a second, let's read through this. Everybody's got this little ditty that put forward. Why don't all of us take a chance, just we're gonna really, pay attention to me. We're gonna read through this really quick, and then we're gonna ask some questions, okay? Just sit tight. So you're talking 16 birds,
Yes, 10
Okay.
to 16.
all of them hens and layers, no roosters?
Yeah.
You got the enclosure or your coop built yet?
Are you building it or buying it?
I think we're building it.
Yes. Is it one or are you gonna one for all?
Yeah, one big coop.
Yeah.
So what would that be in size, Taylor? For 16 chickens, what would be square footage wise and something that big?
I mean, the coop space, they have it about right, that 2.5. The coop doesn't need to be huge because especially during the winter, you want it smaller so that they can keep each other warm. So 2.5 times, what'd you say, 10 to 16?
Yeah.
You did 16, what is that, 32 square feet? 40 square feet, so. Yeah, because definitely you want your coop a little bit smaller.
So I don't know that we've ever entertained an opportunity to help an FFA kid out with a farm project like this, so do we have, so do we actually put it to a vote right now to approve it? That's,
Well,
If it's already, if it's already.
Can we move it to the agenda?
For FFA to have them, would have to vote about it. But it needs city council. If it needs city council approval, I mean. But if it's already in the code for FFA, they would already have. City approval. Oh, with city approval, right, okay. So it's on the case by case basis. Oh, no, it's not. So we have to put that in.
Oh, I thought we talked about.
How soon are you guys gonna start?
Special meeting.
what?
How soon are you gonna
Um,
start?
Thinking in the next month or two.
Okay, we'll be fine then for
Mhm.
August.
so what's gonna happen, Jason? Tell your brokies this. We're gonna go ahead and we meet between now and August to talk and do work. Your FFA project with your brothers will be on that agenda to talk about. You're not gonna come to that meeting. We're just gonna meet without you and talk about it, and then my sense of it is just based on some of what we're seeing is. Some form of approval, we might tell you, okay, no, you can only have this many chickens, or something like that, like, then we'll let you know. We don't have to do 2 readings, we can approve this next month, once it's an agenda item.
Yeah, it's already in the code. Yeah, it's already in the code that it's allowed.
I'm asking our parliamentary. And
Oh, that's okay.
but they're engaged with it somehow here, so they're not engaged. So if it's on the agenda for August,
Then
we can offer approval so that you can get a green light to move forward with this project. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
So you can go back and tell your bros that you presented, you did a smash new job. Now in August, it's their turn. I don't want to have to see you get up. It's gonna be those, okay, it's their turn. You make sure you don't. All right, let them know that it's halfway there, but if they're not here, get it. You get your chickens, they don't get it. I'm kidding. All right, good job.
And I'll be coming to you for fertilizer, okay? Once this gets approved, I need some fertilizer for the garden, so I know who to go to now.
I'm gonna come to you for hot wings. I'm kidding again. Okay.
Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll close the public comments. Moving on to the consent agenda.
So on the consent agenda, the list of claims is not available. We, with the new personnel coming into the office, we had to get new computer systems installed and programs. He was here all day Friday, which I didn't have access to computer all day Friday, tried to come in this weekend, and programs aren't coming up. I've lost all of my email contacts. I have sent him. I've sent him.
He does know who he's dealing with, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've sent him emails, text messages. I haven't heard back from him all day today. But what I will do is get list of plans for this month and next and present both of them at the next. I do have the folder of all the claims that need to be paid. So later, if you guys want to look through it, if there's anything that you question, that it's in here, but it's most of our monthly bills, Alliant Energy, Tuxa Communications, Ag Source, Heartland, Kempers, Tyson's.
Was there any discussion for any of the consent agenda items?
You still need a motion to approve.
Yep.
No, move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Isn't it supposed to be a roll call vote?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
No,
point of order.
Mackey,
Sure.
McBreen. Yes. Baxter,
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
And Bassett.
Yes,
Thank you.
all right, moving on to our departments, water and road.
This is done.
No, you guys don't have to sit through the rest of this. You don't, you're good.
Hey, if you guys end up having questions, all you need to do is call either her or myself, and we'd be happy to help you in any way we can, okay?
yeah.
All right, see you around.
Thank you guys.
Yep.
Who's your razor?
Yeah.
All right, going to water and roads. Dale, you got anything? When did we start the LLL? When did they come around? You guys?
It might be late August, I would say. Everything has been mailed to them. I have not received anything back. And I probably will.
Okay. You good on everything else? Water's all good?
Yep.
You good, fine. Cemetery parks.
We Park and Recreation, Cemetery Park and Recreation Board met last Thursday, Library Board met just earlier this evening. I'll let our librarian run with the library board readout, but as far as Park and Rec and Cemetery goes, Fireman's Day after action review was just a reiteration of what we shared with one another at the work session. We're gonna let it sit a month now and really start working to probably form a subcommittee and get some people involved with that and not wait until forget April to start hammering this thing out as far as details go. Campground update, is this a time where we want to talk about the issues related to the campground in the East Ball Field, or we want to wait and do that someplace else?
I don't care, we can touch on it some.
Well, I took the middleman out of the situation and I started communications directly with the excavator. Or the excavator that's been asked to do a bid for
Okay.
Wade.
Yep.
Spoke with that cat this afternoon. Nice kid, real on top of it, seems to know his business. He really doubted that there would be any dirt coming out of that place. He felt that it was going to be the type of thing I excavate and I'm gonna It's gonna get used right there on the site, so.
Yeah.
That to me was concerning, because I was strongly under the impression that there was gonna be a ton of dirt coming out of that space. Now we're not talking about any dirt whatsoever, which takes away the leverage we were gonna use, my understanding, that we were gonna use to help Jamie make a decision about moving his materials from the east to an alternative location. We don't have that leverage. So now we have to do the unsavory thing and make a decision. Are we going to say to him, you need to be out of here by this time, or are we going to say, hey, we're having problems with the dirt, you can keep using it, but understand, what do we need to do to make it look more appealing and make it look nicer, so it's not such an eyesore? I mean, those are conversations that we need to have. I don't know if we're supposed to have them right now, but it was my understanding, and it's my understanding as far as Jamie goes, he understands he has to get out. He knows that. But he also was under the understanding that dirt was coming, and now it's not. I have not told him that. I mean, I just had this conversation about 3 hours ago with the dude. So it's a bit of a pickle. It's gonna increase the costs for raising the grade on that place, because I have no idea where we're gonna get that kind of filter. I'm gonna have Christie start looking at, or that nice lady at 420 Park Street. I'm gonna start looking at some of the county projects that are going down and see if there's gonna be an excavation. I don't know if there's a way that we could get dirt from up at the corner of 30 and R70. They're digging halfway to China right now. I don't know what's gonna come of that, but I thought it was worthy of noting. Right now, it's not looking real good for dirt, so that puts it back on us with regards. We did a motor park review with regards to the area in the southeast corner of town. I've got the camp boys online to give us some advice with regards to measuring and estimating what needs to be done to for a base at the trailhead and how big that base of concrete should be. Jacora improvements are pretty much at a standstill with the exception of riprap. Riprap has been dropped, materials, recommending concrete without steel in it. Some of them are pretty big pieces. I don't know if we're gonna have to break them by hand and move them. Dale, I'll probably visit with you about the best way to do that, go about doing it, and then also purchasing some heavy duty underlayment material to put over the earth, like a landscape fabric, but an industrial strength stuff, and we'll get that project completed before summer's over. Pretty easily. It's just gonna be probably arranging for some volunteer manpower and bust the guts to move that stuff down into the creek. The leadership part of it got tabled for next month. And we are gonna be engaging in some kind of budget of researching other entities that are about our size and community. To see what their parks and recreation budget is, so that we can work our way to getting in line with that. And that's about all I have to say about that.
Who's on the park board?
Right now, it is myself. And is that yours or mine? Oh. Connie Sepsic has taken herself off of the board. John Camp is on, Jessica Kavanaugh, Jennifer Day, William Brochard, Brandy Howerton, Sarah Chubbuck, and we got a new cat, David Prescott, who's part of the Jeep person. I think that's a good person to have because they are so gung ho to spend money at this out. So.
Can you send that list?
You want this? Do you want me to give you this list?
I just thought we should put it online. It's on. Park board.
Oh, yeah, I can probably do that.
Okay.
Let me be clear. I'll try to do it before the end of the week.
Or I didn't catch all the names. I can, I'll meet with you after.
Okay. I think you have this. I think it's, I sent it to you in February.
Yeah, I just don't have it.
That's about all I have to say about it now. Thank you. What? No, you're not talking to me?
No, I was talking about me, just looking at you while I was talking.
Was he listening? I'll listen. Sorry, it should have been wrong. I take that back. It's trying to be funny.
You're fine.
All right, any further discussion? Moving on to the library.
Things are going very well. Our summer program's wonderful.
We've already had 700 just June come through the library, so that's amazing. So I put together packets for all of you to look at your leisure. I know you don't have any questions. This is our year stat, so you can see compared to last year, how many people have come through the library, how many books are checked out for adults, children, and young adults. Also, how many people use the computer, reference, how much we use ILL, or library loan, and so on. But also, I put together for you when the state librarian interviewed, I told all of you the 29 people from Cambridge to see what they liked about Cambridge, what they wanted to see in the town, what they thought about the library. All of that information is here for you as well. And then also, she had just sent us all the stats about from the census about the library, not about just about the library, but about the town and that kind of thing. So that's all for you. One thing she did mention that I thought would be a great idea for us to think about is she had been to the library many times, but she said there's no sign really, I mean, above the building, but in most towns, you see a sign that says library this way. And I said, oh, that's true. You know, I hadn't thought about that, but she said there's really nothing like that. And I know sometimes when Susan and I get deliveries, they come in and they're like, is this the library? Or, you know, they don't always see a sign. So just something for us to consider.
Are the library hours on the door? On the door over there, the library hours, they're not on the front door.
They're not outside. I have them posted in our window, but so just something to think about. But anyway, the interviews were, I mean, I thought really interesting to read. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Nice. Nice to have that.
Well, this state lady that we're working with, she's, I mean, she has a reputation for being tough and almost unpleasant with regards to her delivery. I mean, she doesn't put up with any nonsense. But we're working really hard with this plan, and the plan is nearly written. I mean, there's probably 15 to 20% of it that still requires a little bit of attention with regards to fleshing it in. But the board right now is doing a fantastic job. I'm very, very proud of them, and doing a large part of the leadership provided by our librarian. So
Thank you. She's a very smart lady, and she knows her stuff. She knows how important libraries are for communities, and she's always willing to come talk to the city council ever to about lots of things. And she's very, very good.
Is there any other discussion for library? All right, move on to finance and economic development.
So the boost grant is open again. In of July, August, so we apply.
it's boots like a phone booth.
Boost, BOST.
Thank
It's
you.
through the Mid-Iowa Planning Association.
Okay,
And I emailed him, I said, what's the advantage? Why can't we reach out to these experts and do this without this grant? He said, they take care of the soft costs, so I have a steering committee together, but we need one more person, and I was reaching out to Mr. Mackey to get a high school student. Because Mid-Iowa Planning said we had a younger person on the committee, it would help. So we'll see if we can find someone.
you want me to talk to one of the older chicken heads?
That would be great.
Consider it done.
So we'll reapply, see what they do. And also the $180,000 grant for the Legion building. They want me to do a quarterly report. I did that, and they still want to talk to me, so I need to get some. We might as well draw down that money, see if we can get the 180,000 here. So, well, I can set up a Zoom meeting, maybe we can talk to them and see how quickly we can get that money.
Would we need Corey here? Or we need to bring Corey in on the Zoom meeting?
I don't know,
Always get the answer right from him.
that would be good.
It would be very good.
Okay, well, they've got July 14th, they've got several days in July, so maybe I can. Next thing to do is set up a date.
Okay.
So the sooner we draw down that money, I think the better.
So that's it.
Yeah, I got it in, and they were like. I said, well, we need to follow up. Okay, I don't know anything.
Do they want to come here? So do they want us to come here?
Yeah. I said, we'll just have another Zoom meeting. So just let me know. When to set that up.
The 14th they got open.
14th, 16th,
16th, Sunday,
several days.
14th is Friday.
It's a great day. We wouldn't be on the Sunday with it.
No, no, it is, yeah, I think anytime next week, but I can look on their schedule, it's under the Iowa grants,
Okay,
then we can coordinate it with Cory.
pick a date and we'll call him.
Okay,
See what he's got.
okay.
Yeah, he's picked up and done.
Well, get some dates. soon.
You know anything out of me?
What's that?
You know anything out of me?
Did I skip you? I didn't skip you, did I? No. No,
No, we're not very.
we're working there.
All right, I'm gonna move on.
Anxious. All right, any further discussion for finance development? Then move on to communication.
I attended the second of 3 of the Story County Hazard Mitigation Plan meetings on June 29th. They basically just went over different hazards that would impact our county. The next steps would be they're gonna send out some the list of our current hazard mitigation strategies and then ask us for new ones that we might want to identify, so. And then the final meeting for that will be August 22nd.
Thanks.
So do we know what our plan is?
No. They're gonna send a copy of what our current one is, and then we can adjust it or whatever.
Is that something we get with Matt? with, and-
I'm assuming so. I don't know if you guys played a role in the 2018 hazard mitigation planning. That was before my time, so I don't know. Or I can send you what they send me in terms of what the plan is, or if you want to see it too, Dale. I don't know what it's all included in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at it.
Okay.
All right, is there any more discussion for communications? Move on to fire.
So last month we took possession of our UTV for fire days through Kawasaki. It's a loan agreement that we can keep for 11 months. At the end of 11 months, we can buy it at a discounted price, or we can give it back to them and they give us another one. Like they have UTV, ATV side by side.
Oh.
Is it specially equipped, Matt, for addressing needs of your nature, or is it just the regular old?
So it's just a regular one, but we had a skigot that was on that Unimog that we put on it, that will help out with grass fires and then, as well as the ATV part or the direct tracks and all that, for bike trail, things of that nature. So the plan is that pretty much stripped everything off the log except for the old lights off of it. When I can put together a Gov Deals account, we're gonna put that thing on Gov Deals and send it down the road. And use that money to buy that use. Also, tomorrow, you know, letter that's gonna go to the township. They know it's coming. It's kind of expected. They want something official, raise the amount that they're gonna be paying us. Which I think that first payment came in over date, right? David, got 3 new sets of gear order. So when we can get that money, whatever that should be here probably. They'll probably be September into something before we see it. Free the river, Eric Longacre and Joe Crawford, and David Eastman. David Eastman, that they bought the house there down, so it's kind of. He's a great asset. He's our training officer and everything like that, so. Him a new gear, look at things a little bit better. Joe, Eric, they went through their firefighter 1 and fire 2 classes. Got that done, so they're both committed to the town and everything, so it's money well spent with those guys on that. Also working on our 501(c), the application for that stuff, so I couldn't find anything from any of the paperwork stacks that I have. But
Dale, did you share with Matt that Adam's wife said she could help him apply for the state licensing, so you guys would have that? She's done that before, so she said she would help with that.
yeah, but everything that everybody that talked to, and everything was that Bill Hook had applied for. We had it at one time, but
Yeah, that's not showing up in the records that.
I can't find anything. So we're just gonna reapply it with the name that we have current and with our EIN number. Then with that, we'll probably have to go forward with getting our own SAMS number, and our own number for to do the kind of.
Do you think you need to have your own SAMS number for that? Because you guys are under the city and we have a SAMS number. So one of the things that came up in the audit is. The city cannot, like when they gave the 15,000 for your remodel. The city can't do that without, you guys should have had to. Show receipt of that money being spent. And that's what these are things that came up in the audit that we're learning now. Just like the township money. We talked about this before at a work session, that money is just supposed to go into the account and then you guys are supposed to send the receipts or the bills to the city for that stuff, you know. The uniforms, that type of stuff, but we got hit kind of hard on that in the audit this last time and I don't know why. But he did bring up some, I don't know, did you guys all read the audit that I forwarded everyone? You need to read it because he stopped in today. And asked if there's any questions before he submits it to the state of how our audit came out. So he would like any questions by tomorrow.
Okay.
And if there's something that somebody says, hey, I would like more information on this. As long as we just let him know that, so he doesn't submit it as what.
Is there a certain time tomorrow, like end of day tomorrow?
He didn't
first thing
say,
in the
he
morning?
was in first thing this morning and. It was kind of a little hectic this morning, so he just asked, I said, yes, we received it, and I had forwarded it to all of the council members. But he said, did any of them have questions? And I said, I hadn't heard anything. He said, well, you have a council meeting tonight, correct? I said, yes. He asked me to remind you to look that over, and if you have any questions on the audit, to please let me know so that I can forward those questions to him.
With the money or whatever, we had really good turnout with our raffle, beat raffle, and with fireman's days and all that. So I had a couple of different companies come in and do some measurements for our cabinets. Which is a little bit more money than what I thought we were gonna be spending. One of them came back in, today, that was close to 17,000 for cut cabinets, and, countertop. Get a couple of the other ones, then we're also go through, Menards, take measurements down Menards and go over that with them. And see what the difference is. Just kind of what's the better quality, so we don't have to do it. You're not great or anything like that, but. Other than that.
Plus everything else done in that renovation.
So we got trim, and we got finished our bathroom stalls. They're kind of painted too.
Yeah.
Bathroom stalls, urinal, and dish trim, and then cabinets. Painted before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everything's purchased, pretty much in there, except for the trim, yeah. So, it's pretty big purchases that we have.
Any more discussion for fire? Police not here, but we do have a report. Is there any discussion on the police report?
Joe just sent me a text and asked me to send his apologies for not being able to make it tonight.
I was just gonna say, it seems like a lot more police calls this past month than we normally have 2 or 3. So quite a few more this month.
Summertime.
Well, didn't you say they were also gonna control Cambridge a little bit more too? They're gonna provide some more hours for us.
Moving on to discussion items, first one at the Opera House. Couple weeks ago, we met with Corey from Continental Sprinkler. He pretty much came in, showed us how to shut the sprinklers down manually. We could not check the sprinkler system call out because currently we have to have a dialer installed. You know anything about a dialer? Yeah. Well, apparently we have to have one before they'll check off on that thing. So Corey from FEH is supposed to be checking into that,
Is it because of the size of the building?
just to check. Well, and that's what I asked. I mean, we're not looking to put anybody in it. We just want to sell it. But he said they have to check it, see if it even works, if it'll even call out.
Right.
So it's like you're gonna put a dialer in here. So we can,
Yeah, I
do
mean,
the other half.
it's surprised that they didn't get put in because, I mean, how many they know that it's going up? There's going, you know,
See it in the water bill.
yeah, they just walk in and flood it. You're right.
Right.
Out there with the, along with your fire, some over there that. 1858 or 1850.
Yeah, out here.
Yeah, so I've been in contact with them quite a bit and doing inspections, because the fire is too small of a venue for the. Fire marshal to do inspections on,
Really?
so that's been put on me by the county. Our fire district. And
So would you have to walk through that over there then?
I
But would you be the one then that's gonna have to walk through it for the fire marshal part of it?
yeah. I don't know if it's because it's residential or why, what the difference is, but. I have to send them letters if they're making sure that they're on the right track. Get everything done, they're supposed to have to. Work out. So and with that information. That's something that the city wants. File or how do we want to? So I'm assuming that also the stuff done with the school. For the fire marshal showed up over there, do their work on that.
But is there a sprinkler in that school?
In the old school or the new
Oh,
school?
yeah.
But I mean, they have to meet code.
Are you talking about the apartments?
Apartments.
Apartments, yeah, there's no sprinkler in that one, right?
No, but they have to meet a certain code.
Sure.
And as far as what is being met, I've pulled up some inspection sheets that I'm gonna be filling out. And I don't know who's liable for any of this, if something does happen in place.
Right.
it burns down, I mean, as far as. I'm checking everything off, if it's there, and I know what it looks like and all that. Confident on that portion of it, it's just. Where we file it, and if something happens, to come to where another chief comes in. How deep do we want to be involved in, I guess? County's putting it on me is being in their fire district. For the city, I guess, maybe the city oversees who's doing it.
Who'd you talk to at the county?
I got an email,
Okay, you want to send that to me?
yeah,
Send me that, I'll call him.
it's through, it's been in contact with them, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll call him. See what they want us to do. Or how to handle it. Okay,
Is the fire marshal supposed to inspect that? That preference or
that's what he's saying, it's, they're putting it off into him.
No, he's just saying out of town, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean, so that's what I'm saying, the jurisdiction would fall on who they want to inspect it would fall under the city. Since it's a city owned building currently. So if it's the engineers, you're good with the engineer inspecting it and saying, yeah, that's right. I don't know if that's. I
Well,
don't,
they don't know that, they don't know that answer either, they've already asked him.
yeah.
So can we put this up for sale without, what do we have to do to get it out of the sale?
Can't without that highway.
Without, okay, we have to get that.
We'll wait to hear back to Cory, right? So wait here before.
See, but it's a building.
No, it's about that, we asked.
I know. Stop it. Anyway,
So what's the dialer? Are we super close with dumping this building?
Yep, just some of the last things that have to be checked out. So in order for them to check the sprinkler system.
That's
out
probably
there.
done.
So we'll have to get a hold of. Probably Hudson Communications, put a service in there now. Pay that. That's how it's gonna work.
Whatever we need to do to
is
get
that
it
the
all
only
working.
stuff in it or?
No, that's about it. We pretty much went through the punch list over there.
Okay.
Really,
Okay.
we've done 3 punch lists. So far, so like, it is right there,
Okay,
just the legal things we need to do. Yeah. Supposed to get a phone and Cory.
I'm gonna let it fire.
We're starting the paper going up on the sell us, whatever that takes, if you
Yeah.
get papers from Cory.
yes,
That he has, we can have them look at those papers.
Right.
What we want.
yeah. So, you know, the cell phone.
All right, there is any further discussion with the Opera House? All right, moving on to the solid waste contract renewal rate increase.
So you guys all got that I forwarded.
What you know about it?
It's gonna cost more money. With that being said, we're gonna have to look at upping our garbage rates. So that, I don't know if that'll be something we need to sit at a work session or what we currently are with what the new rates are gonna be, what that looks like for revenue coming back in versus our expenditures.
mean,
Of course, on
this
that
rate is-
contract, he had put, beginning July 1st. But he didn't even drop it off till after our June meeting, and I told him there was no way possible, so the contract's gonna have to be rewritten by them. And then they cannot put those new rates on us. Until we come up with a way, because that's gonna have to take an ordinance change. And readings. In order for the public to be aware that the rates are going up for garbage.
Hey, why wouldn't they know that? Why wouldn't they have done this 3 months ago?
Yeah, so if you read in that contract, it's supposed to come out in like January. For cities to review, and he said, he dropped the ball, it should have got it to us sooner. And I told him I couldn't even get it on the agenda till the next July meeting. So, and it was gonna take some time after that. The only other option is, is if anybody was at all interested in going out for bids again. But from what I understand, most of the residents in Cambridge are happy with Ankeny sanitation. Would you agree with that, Dale? I'm not getting any complaints. Yeah.
Well, especially when I found out, Jeanette's my neighbor. And now that she just leaves her trash can on the top of her driveway and they go up and get it and then dump it and bring it back and
So
stuff.
they,
There's not many places
Yeah,
that are
they-
gonna take the time.
they
to do
emailed
that.
me that, the driver had went to get her garbage and she was out by the street. And she explained to him that she was legally blind. And so I received an email from the Ankeny Sanitation asking if they could offer VIP service. To them, which means the resident can leave their garbage up at the house, they will come up to the house to get it and put it back at the house. Because she's legally blind, and I said, well, that's very nice. Of you guys to offer that. And he's been doing it.
I know.
So since they dropped the ball on this, is this something, maybe they should just honor the rates we have right now until next year? Gonna take 3
I
or 4
don't-
months.
Well, they could drop the ball and say, well, then we're not gonna provide service to you any longer.
Yeah.
So,
I think you could go to them and be like, and maybe that's where we change our contract
Yeah,
to January 1st. I mean, if it's gonna take 3-4 months, that puts us November, December and
well,
say,
you want it to run July to June, because that's what you budget for. So if you read in that contract, it talks about, for the next 4 or 5 years, that if they do an increase each year, the most that they can go up is 3%. So that's something that we could always know in our budget each year to go ahead and increase it by 3% in case they put an increase to us. But it just takes that time to get everything passed for rate increases to the residents.
could we change the ordinance just to say to allow for a 3% increase each year on trash?
I would-
So then we
I would
don't have
check
to do an
Do it every
ordinance
year.
change all the time.
And do 3 readings.
And just do a 3%, and then, if they were to come back after this 4-year contract and say, we're gonna do a 6%, then the council at that time can decide.
One of the comments that he made when he dropped off the contract was that they have not upped our rates for 3 years. They've kept it the same for 3 years, so that, him putting that in there, if the most is 3%, doesn't mean that they'll always increase it 3%. But if the cost of materials and everything else keeps going up on them for landfill, then of course they have to be able
Or
to.
you word it as, city council will match the garbage company's % increase up into a certain point, and then we'll go out for bid.
Right, but then we have to be able to figure what you're gonna charge for the garbage can, for the dumpsters, for,
Just 3%,
huh?
3% increase on what we paid last year,
If the
or that's where I'm saying you just do
if the
the
company
percent.
does a 3%.
Right, and if they only do a 2%, then you only do a 2% increase, but then the city's not taking any hits, you just go up with whatever they charge us.
Right.
That's how we
Unless
do
you
it at
get,
the ice arena.
unless you get to a point where you don't think that it should be going up 3% and you wanna go out for bids again.
Well, that's where you put that stipulation in there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that in an ordinance that,
Oh,
I
I don't think you could. It's like, we have in there by, like, things are allowed with city council approval, so why couldn't you word it like that?
I'll do some checking.
And then we just don't have to do an ordinance change, depending on inflation and stuff.
Good.
I can just go quicker, so then in these situations, when someone drops the ball, then we're not at risk of losing trash.
strange, they have to change the ordinance.
Right,
And that shouldn't be in there, should it?
and that's where I think you could broaden it, so then you don't have to do an ordinance change just because of rates increase.
All right, is there any more discussion on solid waste contract renewal? All right, moving on to terms agreement for Precision Underground to use the use of old ball diamond. So we had this meeting a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago, work session. On there. And I thought we walked away with, he had use of it until there was an actual plan put in place or until ground dirt was being hauled in. But in the meantime, he was gonna be looking for a new place. Or if we had something else. That's what I walked away with. that
I
night.
guess we didn't go.
And as for the dirt deal, I talked to the owner of that 2 weeks ago. And he did tell me about that whole black dirt, but he said if he needed to dig that deeper to get us dirt. He was for that. We could do that. We just need to let him know. Well, I know about the black dirt. That's right.
Yeah, and that's up to, it's not up to him, it's up to the,
You know,
to the landowner.
yeah. Yeah, so we could still get dirt.
We still could,
He would just dig it, they would just dig it deeper,
if that's what the landowner wants,
what he told me.
the landowner.
Absolutely.
So Sean told you would dig it deeper to get us the dirt.
Yes.
Okay. That puts a little more hope in my heart that we can get that dirt, but when I talked to Josh this afternoon. He hadn't really finished running up the bid to do the excavation. So I will bug him later on this week and
And he told me too.
I'm gonna be taking some field trips this week. Visit a couple places, that being one of them.
And regardless what we do with that, I don't think Precision Underground should be out there. For much longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I would give him 6 months and would argue. But
You're being a lot more generous than I was wondering.
yeah, 6 months, it's plenty.
I mean, and I'm, yeah.
Where's their property? Are we gonna run a business out of town because we think it's ugly on an insurance that not many people use? Are we gonna run them out of town?
But he still has his business in town. He still has a business.
So- what options, if any, exist for him to put the stuff in town? So that we're not creating more of a problem, because I'm not supportive of moving it to the outdoor motor park.
No,
Because that just takes the problem and continues the problem.
but why would it be our problem to solve his problem?
Because we're a small town and this is how small towns work.
I'm curious if he'd be interested in talking to the co-op. Co-op's got a lot of flat ground out there and they just rent him a corner of their property that's open.
Thanks, sister.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
That's what I'm talking about. is,
And
I mean,
that's
I'm
industrial.
not,
That's
I'm not,
industrial over there.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that we go out and bust our
Maybe
knees
let it
to kiss Jamie's butt to get him property, but. The neighborly thing to do, and in my humble opinion, the right thing to do is to at least meet them halfway and say, hey, look, here are some possibilities. You do the heavy lifting. All we have to do is generate an idea, and that's why I started asking questions about our industrial park. It seems so ghostly out there.
yeah.
And I thought, God, do we need to rezone that and buy some of those properties back so that they get used better? Because it's full, and I'm thinking, full of what?
Or story.
Yeah.
You're talking about Scott Street.
Yeah. I'm all for that, and I mean. I'm not prepared to say what,
By that bad. That's a lot of money. I don't know.
Well, didn't somebody say we made agreements to sell those for super cheap if they put businesses in there, so. Well, I shouldn't say this, but you would think there was a written agreement with that to where you're not.
come across anything like that in any of your,
I haven't had
I
time to
suppose we
research
could.
that much, but.
Because if you're not using it for what we
Industrial, they
sold
sold
it
it
for.
to them, but they didn't put any stipulations that it had to have posted hours.
I'm willing to do a little extra to try and help Jamie find a place to put his stuff, and then. Identify a timeline that says to him, and I feel like. It would be in his best interest to get it out of there before the snow flies,
Yeah,
to get it out of there before winter, because we can dump dirt in there.
and he has 8 acres north of Huxley zoned ag. It's his, this is our front porch.
No,
Yeah, that's his personal property.
so what's,
He's a business.
Huh?
He's a
I'm not
business.
storing ice cream and stuff on my property.
This is
too,
my
so-
property out here, storing it on my property.
Well, then let's put something there instead of leaving it abandoned for another 5, 6 years, then Sure. something.
I mean,
If this is such a big property that's entrance to Cambridge, let's make it something special and not just leave it sitting empty, so.
okay. Sometimes I don't know, what, are you being seriously being a smart aleck?
So do we vote on this? Or how do we-
Not on this, we can't on the discussion items, we'd have to put it up here in the agenda, but if we have something, everybody's thinking 6 months, end of the year type of deal.
Yeah.
That needs to be rolling out of there.
Yeah.
We need
Put that
some
in
type
there.
of a term of agreement that we can draw something up to let Jamie know.
Yep.
These are the stipulations,
If it's gonna be for the next 6 months.
if it's 6 months type of thing, I think that needs to go through the attorney.
Yep. You'll do at least.
So we have it legalized, so, but everybody needs to be in agreement on it. And that's where we're at, if we.
There's nothing about what Barb and a handful of taxpayers have said that I don't.
Mhm.
I mean, I agree with you totally. I just,
Well, if people are a business bringing in business, like people aren't going to his business. That's the.
He does bring
We want
business in
people
here when
to
there's a
come here.
water break and he's dropping projects to come help us. That's bringing in business, you know, okay, so next
He's
time we
an
have a
asset.
water break, let's
He's
just
an
tell,
asset, he's an asset to the city.
yeah.
let's just tell him, let's go on everybody else's market. So-
And this business will grow. As we go, if we continue
There's
to,
not Signage down there saying this decision underground, and I don't know why, because maybe, I don't know.
we don't have signage saying, here's the library. Is that what we're on?
So you're coming down here, down at the.
So,
On his building, on the front, it says precision.
I like the idea of putting it on the agenda for August so that it becomes a votable item and I like the idea of putting a timeline on it and a reasonable one, but a timeline nonetheless.
right,
But I think also, I'm willing to do a little bit of due diligence with regard to trying to find something that's equitable and doable. There's gotta be a way we can work this out.
Cause he helped the community,
Yep.
$47,000 worth of work during the derecho, and now we're just giving you the boot, like, come on, I think that's horrible.
but he's.
And if I was a business owner, I'd be like, screw you, I'm not.
Yeah.
giving you that.
Yep. And. Don't-
That's
nobody
what-
disagrees
that's
with
what
that.
my-
It's time to change the arrangement.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But in order to put it on the next month's agenda, we need to know what we're gonna ask the attorney for terms of agreement. We can't just sit here and say, oh, let's do it for-
Well, then now you're talking about maybe, because I don't feel like I'm prepared to say this is.
I think 6 months is too short of a time with the market learning and stuff.
But then you have winter, so you can't do anything here anyway, so moving on schools in 6 months won't be a problem.
1 year, gives them fiscal year, July to July.
To be out by next July.
Yep,
I say January.
a lot of it's gonna depend on if dirt's coming or not.
Yeah, that dirt, he doesn't have to be out
but
here.
again, that's my problem. I think it's also terrible to boot somebody just to say we're leaving this land empty for another 5 years.
But he went on there temporary. But that's temporary,
Yeah, and he understands that. He's not refuting that one bit.
Nope.
so it's turned into, that doesn't look temporary now.
But it
But
is.
he's also
'cause they-
willing to give us, you
Well,
know, or work with us on the camera for our campground and stuff, so.
Yeah, how much longer do you think Michael's and Tech are gonna be in town still?
I would say probably till the end of the year.
So they're gonna have all their stuff stored down there anyway, through the end of the year. So that we're not gonna be able to get to that ball diamond because we've allowed them to move their stuff down there while they're doing the work in our town.
So January 1.
I don't know.
Provided they don't run into any problems that they're down there longer. Right now, they've had pretty good weather, they said, and have been.
What do you think, boss?
I'd like to see what you find out with, finding another piece of property down there.
Well, are we talking about a work session then to come up with something so that the agenda item is locked in and it's votable, so that we can come up with something actionable?
You just,
I don't think it's very fair to keep this thing dingy, dingy,
Right.
dingy, dingy.
Right.
It needs to be closed out.
so you want a work session in 2 weeks, give you enough time to do some.
Are we, are we killing it with work sessions? I mean, are we good with it?
Sure.
I mean, it could be one, it's just one item, right? So we're looking at putting on as one item.
Yeah, because I think,
Jeez,
They can rent land.
United States in August, what the hell happened to this summer?
oh, yeah.
Guess you're not now.
I got a piece
What do you
coming
think
up.
A work session then, or we wait till August meeting?
No, I think we need to do it. I think it needs to be a votable, actionable item on the agenda.
On August.
So, I mean, even if it's only a 40-minute work session, I think it would be time well spent if we came in and said, okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Just to get the stuff together to be able to put it on the August agenda then for
Then
vote.
we vote.
So at the work session, we're gonna decide what to send to the attorney, or we're sending it to the attorney before the work session?
We wouldn't send it to before the work session.
Okay, after the work session.
Yep.
So what are we looking at for a date for a work session?
24th of July.
Just 2 weeks.
Or you could go to the 31st.
The 24th, give the attorney some time to look over.
True.
Well, the 31st would give you time, you still have 2 weeks before you have
Yeah,
council
true.
meeting.
True.
How long does the attorney?
When
take?
do you anticipate you gotta go out east for the niece,
Oh, yeah.
Pretty quick.
South Carolina?
Because when you get the
Don't
chicken, you know, chicken.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you
so
might have to
what
get the
nice-
water.
So that it's mines.
We can kind of give you a heads up on this terms of agreement thing.
Yeah, put nice in,
Well, he knows.
day after, done,
He's seen it.
37,
We talked about
gone for 10 days.
That's all hands on deck.
it. And it's for Lisa Graham down.
24th, 31st, either one.
August 24th, is that July? July 24th, Okay, 6 o'clock, August.
You guys, July 24th, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
10 to 1. Is a little room.
Yes.
All right, is there any further discussion on the terms of agreement? All right, we'll move on to. No. We'll move on to mayor's comments and council comments.
I got a couple things, old store, can we get some G2 on what's going on over here for sometime in the not too distant future and have an actual intelligent,
Dr. Brown.
yeah. What's going on there?
But like for what?
I don't know, I just want to know
Business?
what's going on. Is it gonna be a business? Is it gonna be a place where old guys get together to play cards? Is it gonna be,
Martin's gonna be a woodworking shop for Dr. Brown.
okay?
That's what I heard.
I think if you're gonna ask him that, then you need to go down to the business park and ask a couple other people down what they're doing too, if you're gonna be fair.
That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, there's
I mean, is
some
that-
around, so there should be.
Might even go down the west side of the street here, knock on a few doors too, and ask them what they're going, what's going on. You're just gonna kick it all.
Maybe that's something we need to talk about. a little.
It is.
You know, put it on work session.
Say again, in the work session, no, just in passing.
Yeah.
Could we put it on the agenda? Or could we put it in the work session? To talk about making our library at full time? Please,
Yeah,
maybe put it in the work session, so it's an actionable item for August,
Starting when?
starting when?
Starting when do you want it to start full time?
Well, that's probably something we'll talk about in the work session,
Probably won't be
So-
till next year because it wasn't budgeted.
Yeah,
okay?
so. yeah. Is their board gonna come? And a work
Their
session?
board will come to the meeting in August, but if you want them to come to the work session, they'll come to that too.
Probably better come to work.
Would you like a couple of them? I don't think all of them. Maybe Wendy and Angie, have Wendy and Angie come. You think?
Sure. Come to the work session.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the new superintendent is on the job. Would you be interested in extending an invitation to her to come and introduce herself at a city council meeting, so we know her name and her face, and maybe she's got some ideas with regards to how school, I mean, it's a unique setup to be a superintendent of school where you've got school buildings in 3 different communities who have vastly different characters as communities. I mean, I think she needs to get her big head around that notion quickly. Are you okay with me extending that invitation, or would you like me to get it set up so you extend the invitation?
So you don't want no settle-in time for her, just want to jump on her and.
Really don't think she
Right.
needs any settlement. I'm the one who's had to strap an egg beater on my ass to keep up with her. And I live here,
Lately.
so.
Okay.
So, yeah, what did you have to do?
So you want a September meeting?
Yeah, we could ask her to come in September.
I know school's starting right then. I just don't know how much be on her plate already. Maybe she always stop in and say hi, but you.
Yeah, or I've got a 30-minute session with her individually. I can ask her and just say, hey, what do you think? One of those conversations though is gonna involve the ball field at school.
On her thoughts of it.
I just want it on her radar, and I mean. There's a couple of different ideas that are floating around in my head, but we'll go from there. All right, I'll talk to her. All right, that's what all I have to say about that. Sorry about that. Do we have a new person to introduce?
We do have a new person to introduce.
You like my smooth segue?
So we have went to hiring D Gibbs. He's done talking already over there.
Maybe.
Hello, D.
You're being.
Hey. You're fine. So we want to introduce D Gibbs. She's from Maxwell. She is our new part-time clerk. She is ecstatic to be over here in Cambridge. Hopefully none of the Maxwell people are watching the meeting. I know they do.
I'm very excited to have you here.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I took away from the interview with you was your unbridled enthusiasm and your very spirited demeanor.
Thank you.
You seem like a fun person to work with.
I am,
He's-
just a good man.
Just like you need it.
Cold in the office, still come knocking on your.
But Dee is familiar with Simple City, which we have. We're getting up and running, getting it up and running. Those can be huge, huge. benefit.
I put her to work today, right away.
It works. No, I think everybody got really excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna sit home now. So thank you.
Thank you. Barbara, Brittany, oh, she, hang on.
Okay.
We needed to find out what we would like her to, I'm at church school next week. Would you prefer this, for next week, you're not gonna be in Maxwell, or?
I'm not till
Would
Monday.
you like a couple on Monday, a
Yeah, I
couple
don't-
morning or afternoon that she covers, because I'm gone all day. So we need to decide what hours she will be in the office, so that if somebody needs something, then post it, I'm gonna be out of the office.
Let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any preference on, I mean,
Whatever you do. I think I'm having to wait till that works.
8 to noon every day, or do you want to have one afternoon or that night?
You can't do it Monday, right?
That's my last day there, and I'm really looking for notices for him. I mean, I can come over for a couple hours, but he never know how long it's gonna take.
Yep.
I mean, I'd rather not do it to Monday, that's okay.
So we just put the office will be closed then on Monday, sure.
You want to answer phones, Mike?
Sure.
Yeah.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Are they-
Are you trying to make me when I get back?
No, I'd be happy to, I mean, if you're serious about it, too, and if you're just poking fun at me because I'm kind of off of that.
Do you have some office time that you need to? Do any office, I mean, would you want to be in Monday for a couple hours or
Yeah,
just,
what time you want me?
we open at 8, right? 8 to, we do a couple hours on Monday?
I
or-
could go 8 to noon Monday.
Okay, Mike said he'll answer the phone one day. That's my biggest thing.
Oh.
Answer the phone.
Okay. Okay, then you can just leave me any night, well, I didn't check it, I mean, you probably didn't turn it off.
I'll do a phone log. Yes,
Okay, thanks. Well, on Tuesday.
I'm familiar with that kind of thing. I actually have to do a phone log with myself because.
I know.
Oh,
Okay.
so Monday, noon day.
You need-
Eight
you
to
need-
noon.
Yeah.
Put yourself this week, the next. Very scary.
Dale.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
To the office, 8 to noon, all next week, is that one?
Yeah.
Do you wonder, it has to be with all?
I'm just need to know.
Yeah, let's do one.
Yeah, it's long for post it and everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do 8 to noon.
8 to noon, all next week.
Office, it'll be, it might be Monday.
Okay.
Do the rest of the week.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, is there any other comments?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned.
Monday.
Thank you.